Shalom, shalom. Starting off giving praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well within the scriptures. Charles de Sama. Peace, love, and salutations to the Akim pushing this truth at the four corners of the globe. To all those who believe in this ministry and this doctrine. All right. Lord willing, this be an edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And without further ado, we're gonna go into Genesis, the 17th chapter.
And we're gonna go in on Abraham having two children. One was by promise and one was of the flesh. And when you read in the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, it talk about the promise being to the Israelites, the covenants, the giving of the law, and the glory. So where do Ishmael, the so-called Arabs, get involved in this covenant of ours? They're not. No heathen is involved in this covenant, but especially not Ishmael, and we're about to prove it with the scriptures.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 15. And Yahweh said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon her, Salakia. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old?
Because they was up in age. Sarah and Abram both was up in age. So they was thinking like, feel me, shall a child come out of these old vessels? Because Ishmael was already born, and this Abraham's first son.
It says, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old, and shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto Yahweh, O that Ishmael might live before thee. And Yahweh said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him.
With who?
It says, and thou shalt call his name Isaac.
So the covenant went from Abraham to Isaac. And he said, what?
And I will establish my covenant with him.
He said he gonna establish his covenant with Sarah's child, Isaac, not Ishmael. So Ishmael didn't receive the covenant.
It says, and I will establish thy covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
Who came after Isaac? Jacob. Who came after Jacob? The 12 tribes. Read down to 21, I think it is.
Verse 20 says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him.
So that's how you know the covenant not for Ishmael, because it just said, as for Ishmael, meaning he wasn't part of this covenant. What?
I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly.
That's why you got the Arab nations. And they what? Is in the Middle East, and they control the oil. They are many nations. You got the Arabians, you feel me? You got the people in Palestine, you got them in our land. They all throughout the Middle East, man. And it's a whole lot of them. A whole lot of them. Same way it's a whole lot of us.
It says, 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
Because Ishmael had 12 sons, just like Isaac had 12. Jacob had 12 sons.
Right. But see, the difference is Ishmael is not of that chosen lineage. And that's the point that, was being brought out, is that Israel is that chosen lineage.
That's right.
And I had
Israel 21.
Oh, Salaki. I just had a quick precept real quick. In Genesis chapter 16, verse. I'm gonna start at verse 6. It says, "But Abram said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand, do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarah dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face."
So you gotta read up a little bit.
Oh
So she
yeah.
why she go hardly with her, like read like a verse or two.
Uh, it's a I'll start I'll start at verse 4. And he went in into Hagar, and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was displeased in her eyes. And Sarah said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was displeased in her eyes.
So she felt some type of way, you feel me, about her handmaid having a child of her husband, you feel me? Having her husband's first child. So she was like, this pleased me. Now let's see what Abram told Sarai.
It says, The Lord judge between me and thee. But Abram said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand to do to her as it pleaseth thee.
You let her know. You ain't gotta feel no type of way. This yo
Word.
servant. Do with her whatever you want to do. Now let's see what she dealt and how she dealt with her.
And when Sarah dwelt hardly with her, she fled from her face.
She dealt hardly with her. She roughed her up a little bit. You feel me? Hold on, man.
Right, kind of.
Kick your ass.
You say, verse 7, and the angel of the Lord, the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence camest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarah. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress and submit thyself under her hand. Because Hagar was a heathen. Hagar wasn't no Israelite woman. I believe she was a Canaanite woman.
She was a slave.
Right. So she had to submit under the hand of Sarah, which was an Israelite. I wanted to get a certain Salaki. I'll get that 21 bucks.
We'll get 20 and 21 again.
17 and 20. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
So
right.
you can drill the point in again.
It's Genesis chapter 17, verse 20. It says, and as for Ishmael,
As for Ishmael,
I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
that was his blessing. You feel me? That's your blessing right there to make you a great nation of powerful people. And they is.
Hmm.
Ishmael is a great nation, man. Man, my cousin's cousin, my cousin's cousin, they all got cousins. My 7 cousins, my 8 cousins, my 5 brothers. It's a whole lot of Ishmaelites, man.
Verse 21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac.
But my covenant will I establish with Isaac. So it ain't got nothing to do with Ishmael and the Arab nations or none of these heathen nations. We just read that uh, Hagar was a slave. She was a bondwoman. I think that's Galatians 4 and like 22. Well, I get it.
Hold on, let me read that. It's verse 21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year.
This is Galatians chapter 4, verse 22. For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons. We just read it. We had Isaac and we had Ishmael. It say the one by a bondmaid. Who's that? That's Ishmael. And the other by a free woman. Who is that? That's Isaac. But the one who was of the bondwoman, Ishmael, was born after the flesh. Who was born after the flesh?
Ishmael.
Ishmael. And it says, but he of the free woman, but he of the free woman was by promise. Get Romans 9 and 7.
Hmm. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 7. Neither because there are the seed,
Read up one.
verse 6. Not as though the word of Yahweh hath taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham,
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham, because Abraham had more than one child. We just read it.
are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Right? Because Isaac is that lineage from
Chosen seed.
right, that chosen lineage that came out of Abraham. Just like how Shem was that chosen lineage that came out of Noah, opposed to, Ham. I had a quick precept real quick.
It's it's the point right here. Just hit
Oh,
that point, like
verse
hit that
8.
point. Yeah.
Romans chapter 9, verse 8. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, they are not the children of Yahweh.
Who is the child of the flesh? We just read it. I'm about to bring it back. It say, but he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh. Who was born after the flesh?
Ishmael.
Ishmael.
Huh.
Read that again.
It says, that is, they which are of the children of the flesh.
Children of the flesh. We just read it in Galatians 4 and 23. Ishmael is born after the flesh. So that means what?
Ishmael is the children of the flesh, which means that he is not a child of the Most High.
You got to read it.
It says, these are not the children of Yahweh.
So if you're born after the flesh like Ishmael, you're not a child of God. It just broke itself down because it started neither because are you the seed of Abraham, so you know it's talking about who? Abraham's children. And then it said the children of the flesh. Who the children of the flesh? Who got the covenant? Who is the covenant for?
It says, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
The children of the promise. Now go to 9 and 4. And after that, you got it.
Romans chapter 9, verse 4. Who are Israelites?
Who are Israelites? So the subject matter are the Israelites. So let's see what it was talking about further down in the chapter.
This is to whom pertaineth the adoption.
To whom belongeth the adoption
in the glory,
and the glory,
in the covenants,
and the covenants,
in the giving of the law, in the service of Yahweh, and the promises.
And the promises. It just said in the promise.
Right.
So that's talking about Jake, man. Jake got everything, man. Jake is the children of the Most High, and you heathens not, especially not Ishmael, because you born after the flesh, man. And it started with it broke itself down like that because usually the firstborn will get the inheritance. But it's blatantly telling you Ishmael was born after the flesh. So the promise didn't go to him. The promise went to the child of the free woman, which was
like
Isaac.
Right, it's just like Isaac. Isaac, he had Esau and Jacob.
Yeah.
But Esau, he wasn't given a promise, even though he was born first.
That's right.
Jacob was given that promise.
That's right.
Because he wasn't born after the flesh. He was born
after the promise.
After the promise. This is Genesis chapter 21, verse 7. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she saw unto Abraham, Salakia. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. So even Sarah was in the spirit to cast Hagar and Ishmael out of their household because she ain't want Ishmael dwelling with with Isaac, man.
Even the Most High told Abraham, get him up out of there. You feel me? Like, hey, it is what it is, man.
Right. And it's not like even though Ishmael was Abraham's son, he didn't get emotional. Even though Isaac was even though Isaac was, Salaki, even though Isaac was Abraham's son, when the Lord told him to sacrifice Isaac for me, Abraham, he didn't get emotional over it. He always, I, Abraham always did what the Lord told him to do without no questions asked. No back talk, no type of hesitation. You
That's
know,
that's where the promises start. And then it went down his seed line. It's nothing wrong with promising one of your kids more than the other. You feel me? But it just so happened that it lot happened to be promised to Abraham, then Isaac, and then Jacob, and not Ishmael.
right? Because the Lord can't give a promise to somebody that's not trustworthy. The Lord can't give a promise or make a covenant with somebody that's going to be, basically, disrespectful, rebellious, and stiff necked.
But he
Nah,
did, though.
but he did, right. But he did because of Israel. But it's a chosen elect within the elect.
It was just that he's a man of his word and he can't lie. It was a promise made. It ain't nothing about nothing that we did, nothing that we deserve. It's just that the Most High is a man that he can't lie. He spoke it, so he got to do it. Simple as that. That's all else. Hey, so with that, man, we hope that that was edifying to the power and spirit of the Most High. So we'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutations to all the Akim that spread this truth around the four corners of the earth. And with that, we go say shalom.
Shalom.